Hi, and welcome to the Bloom Basics course on Worth. These next 6 weeks, we are going to talk about confidence, comparison, what it is we should actually be basing our confidence on, and how to strengthen our confidence in those areas. We're going to talk about worth, value, how to handle bullies. We're going to talk about all kinds of things, and I am so excited that you have joined with us. My name is Christian. I am 32 years old and I'm from South Texas, and Bloom all started because of a conversation. I had a conversation with an old friend and we were talking about what we wish we would have known growing up. I wish I would have known a lot of things, like that I shouldn't care so much what people at school thought about me, that I should really confidently pursue the things that I wanted to, that I should date kinder people. I feel like if I could go back in time and warn 10-year-old Christian, she would have just enjoyed her life a lot more. And I would have told her not to wear those red pants in 8th grade because one of those days they were going to rip in front of the entire class. However, I cannot go back in time and talk to young Christian. But I would like to be able to have conversations with the girls I see all around me making some of the same classic mistakes. That's why we started Bloom. It started with a conversation, and that one conversation turned into meeting with a 6th grade class in South Texas once a week. And we would just share our advice and get to know these girls, listen to their stories, and share ours. And that opportunity turned into being present in every single school in our school district. From there, we have just made it our goal that every girl would know her worth. That's our vision. That is our dream, that every single girl would know her worth. That's why we started in local schools, and that's why we've moved forward to publish this curriculum, because we want you to know your worth. The thing is that we've always said that this was for the one, that if we did all of this work and it only ever helped the life of one girl, that it was worth it. And the thing is that I know personally that it's going to help more than one girl, but even if it did just help one girl in one city, it helps her sisters, her mother, her grandmother, her friends, one day her daughters, her granddaughters. Worth is a legacy, and what you build and pioneer in your own life in regard to your worth will be a legacy for all of your family for all time. So I am so excited, and I'd ask you to buckle up, Buttercup, because we're going for a fun ride. Now, I can't stand here and say that my qualifications for writing this course are that I've lived a perfect life and done it right every single time. The thing is, I always joke and say that if I were to ever write an autobiography, I would call it Here's What Not to Do. My qualification is sort of my lack of qualifications, because I have stumbled and failed forward many times in my life. And I just want to share some of that with you and see if maybe it helps you and helps you go from where you're at to where you want to be. Now, no one is born with limitless confidence. Confidence is like a muscle, and like any muscle, you have to work it out in order for it to be strong. If I did one workout, I would not be strong for a lifetime. I know what you're thinking, but you look very strong, and thank you, you are right. But not as strong as I thought I was, because I recently had an injury. And when I went to the chiropractor, he told me it's because I had a weak butt and a weak core. Now, your core is not just chiseled abs like what I have under this sweater. Your core is from here to here, and then from here to here. It's this whole muscle group. And your core is actually your center of strength. So every other exercise that I do depends on my core. So let's do a quick review. What is the most important muscle group for you to exercise? I hear a lot of guys with teeny tiny legs yelling biceps, but you're wrong. It's your core. Now, let's say that I wanted to bicep curl 200 pounds like I usually do. Thank you, Cinderella. If I was going to bicep curl this 200-pound weight, but did not engage my core, what do you think is going to happen? You're right. My arms are going to break off like twigs. And if I decide that I'm going to squat this weight like I usually do, and I don't brace my core, what do you think is going to happen? Boom! Decapitated. You're correct. So no matter what exercise I'm doing, whether it's my legs or my arms, I have to have a strong center. Let me show you something else. If some bully were to run out of nowhere and punch me in the stomach, not only would they fall on the ground with a shattered hand, I would need to be braced for that, otherwise it could knock me down on the ground. In fact, that hit was so hard, if I hadn't been prepared for it, it probably could have flown me into outer space. Am I right? Yes. In life, you don't just need a strong physical core. You actually need a strong heart core. Let me explain. As human beings, not human beings, human beings, we are body, we are soul, and we are spirit. And my soul refers to my mind, my will, and my emotions. If anyone in here has ever been called stubborn before, that's your will. Your mind, your will, and your emotions are what scriptures refer affectionately to as our heart. And the thing is that your heart also has a core. Now, I need to brace my heart core so that whenever the hard hits of life try to get me off track, I'm ready for them. It is vital that we exercise this heart core and make sure that it's strong. Now, I'm going to show you a scripture, which is Matthew 7:24-26. And this scripture is about the wise bloom girl and the foolish bloom girl. And it says, "Everyone who hears my teaching and applies it to his life can be compared to a wise man, bloom girl, who built his house on an unshakable foundation. When the rains fell and the flood came, with fierce winds beating upon his house, it stood firm because of its strong foundation. But everyone who hears my teaching and does not apply it to his life can be compared to a foolish man who built his house on sand. When it rained and the flood came, with wind and waves beating upon his house, it collapsed and was swept away." There are going to be things that take you by surprise in life. We cannot prepare for everything. We can't control everything. And you might be sitting here and you might be a girl who life has taken you by surprise. Maybe a parent left who should have stayed. Maybe there was a divorce in your family that you didn't see coming, or a death that you had not anticipated. Maybe something crazy happened, like a natural disaster, or perhaps you were a part of the world whenever a global pandemic hit us all and we did not expect it. There are going to be things that happen over and over that we aren't prepared for. But if we strengthen our core on the right things, when those hard hits come, they won't completely sweep us away. They won't completely wash us away. We will stand firm. Now, whenever I was a teenager, I made a scrapbook. And the thing is that I put the don't in DIY, okay? But I made a scrapbook, and on the first page, I wanted it to say, "There once was a girl who lived a perfect life." But I ran out of stickers, and so that first page has a picture of a ballerina, like a cute little baby onesie, and then it says, "Who?" And I think that that's pretty appropriate, because the truth is, who ever gets to live a perfect life? Absolutely no one. And I don't understand why I started making that page, because I did not in any way have a perfect life. I kind of feel like, let's say this is the story of my life, like the enemy came into my world and just scribbled on it and wrote labels that were never meant to be there. I feel like he sort of tried to change the plot for what God had intended for my life, and sort of tried to take over the story. And it could have stopped me. There are many things that happened in my life that could have completely demolished me. But God is amazing and He is faithful and He did not let that happen. And so I just wanted to encourage you that no matter what you face in life, no matter what comes against you, God is faithful and He is good. And if you feel like life's hit completely knocked you down, I want you to please get back up again. Take a step forward. Brace your core. What's that song? Get back up again, up again. Yeah, that one. Now, if I were to go to McDonald's and I were to get something off the dollar menu, what would you get? Me too. I would get the French deep fries personally. But some people would get maybe an ice cream cone. You might get a hot and spicy, a drink, McNuggets. If I were to go to, and this is a very real dollar as you can tell, the truth is that I use a real dollar in every school for Bloom, and that's actually why we have a change shortage. So if I were to take this dollar to my nearest McDonald's and ask for something off the dollar menu, I could give them this dollar and then get my French deep fries, right? Now, for this lesson, we're ignoring the 8 cents of sales tax, right? Now, what if I crumpled this dollar up and I tossed it at the cash register? Well, that would be super disrespectful, but I could still get my French fries, correct? And what if I decided that I was going to stamp on this dollar and do a little tap dance? And then it got caught on my shoe, and then I picked it up, and I tossed it at the lady. Well, I could still get my French deep fries. And what if I were to spit on this dollar? Sick. Mush it up and hand it to the lady. I could get my French fries. And what if I gave it a little tear? As long as you don't tear this completely in half, I can still get my French fries. And what if I were to yell at this dollar? Yell at it every day for 2 weeks. You big old Dumbo dollar, you're only a quarter. You're only worth a quarter. You hear me? You're a quarter. I could call this dollar a quarter every single day. And did I transform it magically into a quarter? No. Can I take it and get a gumball out of the gumball machine for 25 cents? Absolutely not. This is still a dollar, and it is still valuable enough that I can go and get my French deep fries. Now, the thing is that the reason why I could not change it into a quarter is because this dollar's worth and value were issued by a higher authority than I have. That is beyond my pay grade. The US government decided that that bill would be worth $1. And because of that, I actually don't have permission to change its value. I can scream, I can rant, I can try to tell it it's worth something else, and I still don't have the authority. In life, there are going to be people who do not see your worth. There might be people who trample on you, literally spit on you, who call you names that you do not deserve to be called, but they do not have permission to take away your worth. They have not been given authority. Now, the thing is that yes, we need to realize how worthwhile and valuable we are. But you don't even have permission to tell yourself what you are worth if you view yourself as less than worthy. I am responsible to find out what God thinks about me and to affirm myself that I am, in fact, completely worthwhile. Because how many of you know that if you are anything like me, there are probably things that happened in your life that made you feel dirty or maybe shameful. Maybe people couldn't see your value and we started using their opinion instead of God's opinion. That's not true. They didn't change your worth. They could not change your value. Now, I really started thinking about this the other day because who in here likes movies or TV? I know I'm talking to teenage girls. So the thing is, yes, of course you've seen a movie, right? Who has a favorite actress? Turn to the girl next to you, whisper who it is. Oh, I love them too. Well, I personally have a favorite actress. I think she's beautiful. She is sunshine embodied, and she is happy, and she's a mother, and she's beautiful, and I'm like a little bit obsessed with her. And so I Googled her name so that I could look up like how tall she is, what she named her kids, and whether or not she needs a new best friend. And her name is Teresa Palmer. Now, what shocked me is that whenever I Googled her name, it popped up and said, "What is Teresa Palmer worth?" And I was like offended for her because I was thinking, how dare you in any way try to attribute a worth to this woman? You're priceless, Teresa. And they said that she had a net worth of $3 million. So what they did is they took up all of the money she's ever made and said, Teresa Palmer is worth $3 million. That is what all of life is going to try to do to you. Life is going to continually, people in life are going to continually try to tell you what you are worth, but they don't have that authority. Let's look at the actual definitions of two words. The word worth is defined as the quality that renders something desirable or valuable. And the word value is defined as the amount of money or goods or services that is considered to be a fair equivalent for something else. Let's wrap it up. Your worth and your value were given to you by God. He has ultimate authority. And no matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what plot twists the enemy tried to take on your life story, and no matter what names people have called you, they cannot take your worth and your value away. You are priceless and you are precious. And I am so excited that you have joined us for this course. Now, I cannot wait to see you next week. But in the meantime, we're going to have some discussion questions. See you then.